Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Monday, July 17, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. President Ali meets Macron, other leaders during EU-CELAC summit. Government mulls extension for submission of financial proposal for Corentyne Bridge. 3,000-ton silos drying tower for corn and soya to be operational by September. Fisherman perishes after setting his house on fire, and Madhia fire, $5 million each for families of children who perished. Teens seeking treatment in the U.S. to return next month. Now for the news in detail. During a packed day one of the EU-CELAC summit, President Dr. Irfan Ali met with French President Emmanuel Macron and other leaders, even as he laid out his expectations that the summit will address food and climate security as well as other areas. Here is Jarl Bryan with our lead story tonight.
On day one of the EU-CELAC summit in Brussels, Belgium, President Dr. Irfan Ali and French President Emmanuel Macron met and had brief discussions. President Ali also joined fellow CELAC leaders during meetings with other heads of state and European Union politicians. The summit will last from July 17 to 18th, and according to President Ali, he expects climate, energy, and food security to be of high priority.
There are three important issues facing the world today. That is climate security, energy security, and food security. So I expect the summit to focus heavily on these three areas in ensuring that we find the right balance on these three very critical global issues. One in which we don't lock stakeholders out, but one in which we can have all the stakeholders on the energy front, the climate front, and the food security front together, so that we can find solutions to the financing gap, and we can find solutions to the problems that are affecting people and bridge the gap of inequality.
President Ali was also among the CELAC heads of state who participated in a business roundtable on Monday. Meanwhile, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, also serves as the co-chair of the European Council and pro tempore president of CELAC. During the opening day, Gonsalves urged that long-standing issues affecting CELAC members be meaningfully addressed during the summit, including climate financing and reparations.
Hopefully, this summit will arrive at mutually satisfactory conclusions on a bundle of compelling issues touching and concerning, among other things, inclusive, sustainable development, hunger and food security, a meaningful reform of the global financial architecture in accord with the central thrust of the Bridgetown Initiative, renewable energy, ramped up ambitions and actions on climate change, mitigation and adaptation, tangible delivery and commitments to climate finance and loss and damage funding for vulnerable countries, public health and pandemics, reparatory justice for native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies, the cessation of unilateral coercive economic sanctions against some CELAC member countries, the unjust and counterproductive weaponizing of the banking and financial systems, the unlawful interference and intervention in the internal affairs of countries, the quest for peace and security, and the promotion of international law.
While he acknowledged that these topics are likely to generate differing views, he was optimistic that as a group they can reach a satisfactory outcome. Jarl Bryan, The Evening News.
With a timeline of October 2023 for the official contract signing for a bridge over the Corentyne River linking Guyana and Suriname, the governments of both countries are considering extending the deadline for bidders to submit financial proposals for the project. Tasia Dickinson has the details.
During a recent broadcast program, Public Works Minister Juan Edgel disclosed that bidders vying to construct the Corentyne River Bridge have requested an extension of the time for the submission of financial proposals. The minister noted that even if an extension is given, the governments will not go past their deadline to have the contract in place, which is set to October.
The date for financial closure for the submission of bids, the financial bids, it's August 1st. But over this last couple of days, we have received correspondence and through engagement with Suriname, and some of the bidders, they've been requesting an extension of time for the submission of their financial proposals. However, we have set a time, which is October of this year, that we will like to have a contract in place by October of 2023. And even with the granting of the extension of time, our agreement is that we're not moving past October for the getting of a contract in place.
According to Edgil, just a few weeks ago, he and the Public Works Minister of Suriname, Dr. Riyad Nur Mohammed, received a final report from the consultancy firm Trinidad-based WSP Caribbean concerning the project.
Just a couple of weeks ago, the Minister of Public Works from Suriname came to Guyana, where we received the final report from WSP, which is the consultancy firm that was engaged to provide the governments with the kind of information that we need to ensure that when we get a proposal, we can properly evaluate it. They did some of the feasibilities, the geotechnical studies, and the rest of it.
The WSP Caribbean's design proposed the Corentyne River Bridge as a two-section structure that is connected via Long Island to link Guyana and Suriname. The design also features a two-lane bridge with accommodation for a third lane in case of an emergency. The high-span Corentyne River Bridge will be built according to the Design, Build, Finance, Operate, Maintain model and will run approximately 3.1 kilometers connecting Molson Creek in Guyana to South Drain in Suriname, with a landing on Long Island in the Corentyne River, where a commercial hub and tourist destination will be established. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Guyana's growing corn and soybean industry will receive a further boost as 3 silos with a combined capacity to store 9,000 tons of grain and a drying tower are on track for startup by September of this year. Find out more in this Gerald Bryan report.
3 silos, each with a capacity to store 3,000 tons of grain and an 80-ton per hour drying tower, are currently being constructed at Takama Landing on the Berbice River. The facilities are intended to support the corn and soya being cultivated at a farm in the Takama Savannah in Region 10. On his social media page, President Dr. Madhia announced that testing and a virtual tour of the facility was done on Monday. Further, it was announced that the facility will be operational by the next harvest in September of this year. During his most recent press conference, President Ali had spoken of the government's investments in high-value crops, including corn and soya.
We are bridging the production gap, ramping up production, crops such as rice, sugar, expanding the corn and soya production, high-value crops, the Shade House Initiative, wheat trials, spices, expansion of the livestock industry, swine, beef, poultry, black-belly sheep, fisheries, establishment of shrimp farm, and cage culture farming. These are all new areas that are emerging in a modern agriculture infrastructure landscape to support sustainability and resilience in agricultural food production.
The soybean is being cultivated by a consortium that includes Guyana Stock Feed Limited, Eden Farms, and Bounty Farm Limited. Other investors are Royal Chicken, SBM Wood, Double A Ranch, and the Brazilian-owned NF Agriculture. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
In light of Trinidad and Tobago detecting 2 cases of monkeypox in their country, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has assured that Guyana has systems in place to detect, diagnose, and treat cases. Rupasina Ryan has the details.
Trinidad and Tobago is currently conducting an epidemiological investigation amid the detection of 2 monkeypox cases. On Monday, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony said when cases were detected here last year, Guyana had established protocols and resources to deal with any potential case. If anyone presents with symptoms of the disease at the health facility, the ministry will be able to manage them and provide testing.
Last year we had diagnosed 2 persons here with monkeypox. And the reason we were able to make those diagnoses is because we have systems in place. So we have the testing capability, we have a response team. So if, let's say, there's a suspicion, because what we do, we write out what are the things that doctors must look for. And that has been sent to all our physicians, right? So if they observe that there is such a person fitting this type of criteria, then they can call for the response team to come down. So these are experts that we have in infectious diseases.
Surveillance is also active at the airports, ports, and along the borders.
We do have surveillance at our airports and at the border with Brazil, the border with Suriname. And we do have port control as well. So another side of the ministry that people don't often see is the doctors who work at these sites. So every one of the airports and these ports, we have a team that is there monitoring. And if there's any suspicion, then they will be able to alert the system.
Monkeypox is characterized by a skin rash or lesions that can last between 2 and 4 weeks and may be accompanied by fever, headache, muscle aches, low energy, and swollen lymph nodes. The disease can be transmitted to humans through physical contact with someone who is infected, through contaminated materials, or through infected animals. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Barbicians are continuing their call for the government to revisit the law to regulate electric bikes. On Saturday, owners and operators of electric bikes on the east bank of Berbice in Region 6 held a protest at Edinburgh calling for some of the requirements to be relaxed. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports.
Owners and operators of electric bikes have already held protest actions at Corriverton, Tain and Port Morant, all under quarantine, and at Shieldstown on the west bank of Berbice in Region 5. On Saturday, owners and operators on the east bank of Berbice called on the government to relax some of the requirements. In May, the National Assembly passed amendments to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, allowing electric bikes to be subjected to the same regulations as motorcycles, in a move that is intended to address the alarming increase in road fatalities and incidents involving this category of vehicles.
The purpose of me buying this e-bike is to get to work. I'm doing the 10-day work. I'm living alone, and now getting license and all these things for this e-bike is putting a strain on poor people, I would say. And if the government did know that they want like everybody gotta get, like you gotta get license, original license, like motorcycle license, then people wanna waste some time and buy them e-bike these, right? And they should inform people. They should not allow the bikes them to come into the country to sell.
Well, we can't on the government concern this electric bike because it's too hard from poor people to pressure it. And we just asking if them could like give us a permit for ride and with an age limit. And if every year we gotta pay a little revenue, that's it.
Because the money can't pay, and then they put in pressure again, the government put in pressure for pay license for bicycles, and this, so that harassment. Pressure upon poor people. Some of these people that use bicycles just to go to work in the district.
The parents then who allow the children for ride the cycle, they should lock up the hold up the child and get the parents at the station and charge the parents for riding the cycle.
But Uncle, there are many people using these e-bikes who don't know how to use the road. I've seen people just riding through, don't know that they're supposed to stop at the main road, do not even know what are the rules of the road. Don't you think those people should learn and get a license before they're allowed permitted to ride on the road?
Well, they should know about the traffic sign, but how they going to know? Same thing make me even go not ride and go down with the cycle.
To register a bike, the owner needs to take a receipt and their identification to the Guyana Revenue Authority. Among the requirements for registration, persons must be a holder of a valid driver's license to operate an e-bike on the country's roads. Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdi has already made it clear that the government is not interested in using this measure as a money-making scheme, but rather wants to ensure road users are safe. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Coming up, armed robbery suspect sets fire to break down police station lockups, and 20 million up for grabs as Digicel launches Deal or No Deal summer promotion. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Turbo Energy Drink rolling out the Turbo Hot Summer Week promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo Energy Drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean. For more details, conditions apply.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
The Quarantine Highway from Palmyra to Crabwood Creek Region 6 is being upgraded and widened to improve the lives of thousands of Guyanese. Some $27.7 billion is going towards the widening of the structures along the carriageway to accommodate a 4-lane highway and to relocate utilities. Oil revenues are being channeled into Ghana's development and is benefiting infrastructural projects such as these.
Who knows if they actually need the roads that are being built.
Contractors, let the quality of your road constructions speak for themselves by investing in a walk-behind vibratory roller from Sylvie's. Apart from improving productivity, our roller provides better compaction for soil and asphalt. Designed with the ability to turn, this machine also offers great flexibility for precise work near walls and sidewalks. Order it now before it's gone at sylviesonline.com or at our 31 High and Hatfield Street store.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. A prisoner who was detained for armed robbery is now suspected to be charged with arson as he reportedly set a mattress on fire while being in custody at the Bergdam police station. The incident occurred on Sunday at approximately 6:50 hours. Swift action by on-duty police officers led to the prompt extinguishing of the fire. The suspect, identified as Stephon Howard, a 22-year-old vendor from East La Penitence, Georgetown, was arrested on Saturday. This newscast was informed that the Guyana Fire Service was alerted, but by the time firefighters arrived at the scene, the fire had already been extinguished. Following the incident, Howard complained of feeling unwell and was subsequently transported under police guard to the Georgetown Public Hospital for medical attention. At the time of the incident, 6 other prisoners were being held in custody at the lockups. The police has since explained that the prisoner was questioned, during which he told ranks that upon entering the lockups, he discovered a lighter and a piece of toilet paper inside of the cell. And due to mosquitoes biting him, he lit the piece of toilet paper in an attempt to ward them off. He added that about 10 minutes later, he realized that the toilet paper had fallen on the mattress on the floor of the cell, and the mattress ignited into flames. A similar incident occurred in October 2021, causing the Bergdam police station to be completely destroyed by a fire, which was allegedly started by a prisoner in the lockups. We now tell you that a fisherman who was reportedly suffering from depression last evening perished in a fire, which he set to his house at Paradise Essequibo Coast, Region 2. Dead is 38-year-old Terry Lalo, a father of two who had separated from his wife for some time now. Reports are that the man plunged into a state of depression since the separation, and this took a turn for the worse when he was summoned to pay child support. The now dead man's mother told the Evening News that her son struggled to find a job, and as such, this caused him to become even more depressed. As such, at around 21:30 hours last night, he set his house on fire. An investigation is still ongoing to officially determine the cause of the blaze. Meanwhile, a two-story wooden house at Lot 22 Diamond, School Street, East Bank, Demerara was destroyed on Sunday, leaving 10 persons, including 4 minors, homeless. One of the occupants, 35-year-old Rosanna Jairam, a housewife and mother of 4, related that she had been renting the upper flat of the house for approximately 1 year, while the lower flat was occupied by a man, his mother, and 3 other persons. On the day in question, at about 11:30 hours, Jairam was alerted by family members about the fire, and they quickly evacuated the premises. Within moments, the woman said that the entire house was engulfed in flames. Jairam revealed that the fire originated in the bottom flat shortly after a heated argument between one of the tenants and his mother. She further disclosed that during her tenancy, she had been compelled to contact the police multiple times due to threats made by the said individual who had previously threatened to set fire to the house during disputes with his mother. The displaced families are now facing the daunting prospect of finding alternative accommodations as they have lost their homes, belongings, and cherished memories in the fire. Jairam is appealing to anyone willing to help her family to contact her on 674-6019. Meanwhile, the investigation into the cause of the fire is still ongoing. Rupasina Ryan joins us now to report that the teenage victim of the Madhia dormitory fire, who was flown to the United States to undergo treatment, should return to Guyana next month. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has informed. Here's more.
The teenager recently underwent skin grafting procedures owing to the extent of her injuries. She is currently under care of highly skilled medical professionals at the Northwell Health Burn Care Center in New York. She will be discharged soon and should return to Guyana by August, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony has revealed.
Who's been grafting the skin and putting it on the place that was burnt. So we expect that she would be discharged very soon, and she would be able to come back home maybe sometime next month.
Since May 27th, the critically injured teen was picked up by the Global Rescue Ambulance at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport and taken to the Northwell facility, which has waived all costs for medical care. She was among several others who were admitted to the Georgetown Public Hospital on May 22nd following the fire at the Madhia Secondary School dorm. While at the GPHC, she underwent 2 surgeries and her condition, though critical, improved steadily. The death toll from the Madhia fire is 20, inclusive of 19 female students from the dormitory and a 5-year-old boy. Rupa Sinarain, The Evening News.
Meanwhile, the Evening News has been reliably informed that the families of the children who perished in the Madhia dorm fire will receive $5 million from the government. It is unclear if the monies have already been distributed and what considerations were made in arriving at the sum. The families of those who received injuries received support in other kind. We now tell you that July 16, 2023 marked the 50th death anniversary of 17-year-old Jagan Ramasar and 42-year-old Ballot Parmanand, the ballot box martyrs. This duo was killed after becoming victims in a hail of bullets from guns carried by members of the Guyana Defense Force. At the time of the shooting, they were protesting the removal of ballot boxes from a polling station along the Corentyne coast. Andrew Carmichael has that story.
During a simple littering ceremony at the cemetery where the two were laid to rest at number 65 Village, Corentyne, Executive Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, PPP, Zulfikar Mustafa, recalled the struggle for democracy in those days under the then People's National Congress, PNC. He said the freedom for democracy which we enjoy today did not come on a platter, but rather there was a hard struggle. The martyrs Jagan Ramasar and Ballot Parmanand, he reminded, would have made the ultimate sacrifice.
In 1973, they made those sacrifices, but our votes were not counted at the place of poll until 1992. Although they gave their life to that cause, it took us a number of years to fight and struggle. And the struggle that was led by the father of the nation, Dr. Chedi Jagan, it took us many years for us to have that objective met in 1992.
In 1992, the PPP won the national elections after being in opposition for 28 years.
Before 1992, they used to rig the election. Their agents, PNC agents, used to storm the polling place, seize the ballot boxes, take it to a central counting point, and replace it with votes already counted in favor of the PNC. But in 2020, we have seen they have took rigging to a new heights. Although the votes were counted at the place of poll, they tried their utmost to steal an entire country in front of the international community.
In paying respects to the two martyrs, Region 6 Chairman David Armagon said the PPP will always remember them. Their sacrifice, he said, is important to all of us.
47 years later in 2020, the PNC, having come back in power, or was actually going out of power, decided that they were going to practice that rigging again and steal our votes 47 years after. So we cannot really trust these people, and we must never again allow them to enter anywhere near to power in this country. That must be the pledge today as we commemorate 50th anniversary of our brothers who were killed.
Also attending the ceremony and laying wreaths were family members of Ramasar and Parmanand. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Digicel is turning up the heat this summer with its highly anticipated promotion, Deal or No Deal, where over 20 million in cash and prizes can be won. Tasia Dickinson tells us more.
During this campaign, qualifying prepaid customers will have the opportunity to make a deal of their lives and potentially win up to a staggering $2 million instantly. The promotion will run for 6 weeks, commencing on July 16, 2023 and concluding on August 26, 2023, with 2 exciting game shows scheduled to be aired on NCN Channel 11. To be eligible, prepaid customers must top up their accounts with $1,000 or more using scratch cards or electronic top-up methods to collect the letters to spell the word DEAL, D-E-A-L.
So it's super easy for our prepaid customers to be a part of this promotion. All they have to do is top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell DEAL. That's D-E-A-L. Once they will have spelled DEAL, we're going to give them a call and they're going to be a part of the game show that you were a part of today.
The competition consists of 2 qualifying periods where winners would have the chance to participate in the game shows.
And it ends, the first qualifying period ends on August 5th, and then we'll have a first game show. And then the second qualifying period begins on August 6th and ends on August 26th.
The company also emphasized the importance of customers being vigilant against scammers and urged them not to share their PIN numbers or verification numbers with individuals claiming to be calling from Digicel. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Tuesday, July 18th at 4:15 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Tuesday, July 18th at 17 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Sinclair Cricket Academy bowls off at Everest and Maltinos launches Cricket Academy for youths. Details of these stories in the Sportcast sponsored by MACRON coming up on the other side of the break.
drink rolling out the turbo hot summer wheels promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V. Plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo Energy drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean. For more details, conditions apply.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us. No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.